Alright, quick layover in Warsaw before continuing the remaining 2-hour flight left for Venice. So this quick layover may be getting a little longer because I still don't see a plane at our gate. This is my first time in Poland. That said, I don't get to do very much because it's supposed to be like a 45-minute layover. We'll see. So, just got off the plane in Venice, but just like most major cities, the airport is not actually in the city of Venice. However, unlike a lot of US cities, Venice is actually just like a large collection of islands, so you gotta actually get your way to the islands. I've been following signs to get to a water taxi. Once I'm there, gonna find my hostel, drop bags and stuff like that, and explore. That said, I'm very tired right now. I haven't slept in going on maybe like 36, 48 hours. I'm not good at sleeping on planes. All right, Google Maps is confused, so therefore I am confused and a little bit lost, but we're here, we made it to Venice. And it's like, yeah, hold on. So my general goal now is to find my hostel, which I know for a fact is not on the island that I'm currently on. So I don't know if I need to take another boat or bridges to get there. We'll find out. Yeah, I'm definitely cool with just exploring around for a little while. But I do know where I am right now, San Marco Square. The only trip that I didn't reserve is climbing the bell tower right here. I think the Campanile, if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm looking up there and you can already see that there are people at the top with a nice viewing point. I'm having a really hard time leaving the space right now, but I'm gross, I'm sweaty, I've been wearing the same clothes for almost 48 hours now, and I know that the hostel is close. I just think there's a big body of water between it and me. So basically Venice's public transportation is boats, ferries, gondolas. Chicago has the L, Venice has gondolas. I'm gonna get to the hostel at some point. Google Maps has continued to fail me, but it's hard to be too mad. Buongiorno. So clearly found the hostel last night. Got here and actually met up with some other travelers from all over. So this is gonna be the only morning on the trip where I don't have definite plans right away. So I gave myself the opportunity to sleep in. But I wanna check out the Venice Bienalle Architettura while I'm in town. So what I probably could have figured out last night is that it's basically the Louvre, but with boats instead of trains. It's actually pretty simple now that I'm looking at it in the daylight. Just got asked if I was from California, which is now something that happens all over the world. I'm not, my hair is just long. Man, it's hot. So I'm just gonna keep exploring until a little after lunchtime. Then I'll go back to the hostel and take a nap, potentially wash up too. But tomorrow I'm on an agenda. Tomorrow I'm waking up and I gotta make a train to Florence. So no more floundering about trying to figure out public transportation. This is gonna be essential at one point or another. We're still on time. All right, Bienalle Architettura, the Venice Biennial of Architecture, which I'm very excited for. Theme this year for 2021, the question that many architects from different countries are answering or responding to is how will we live together? Phenomenal and very important question. It reminds me a lot of the director of my MFA program, Greg Bordowitz. Phenomenal artist, just an incredible individual based out of New York City. Going into our MFA program, he gave a theme for it, and the theme was, how can we be together? I love that the Biennale's theme is, how will we live together? And like that theme that Greg Bordowitz had posed to us, how can we be together? He posed that in summer of 2018. We had no idea that we would be ending summer 2020 in a global pandemic when we were at times couldn't feel like we were further apart. So to think about different ways globally, especially now leaving a pandemic, how can we be together? How will we be together? How can we use design? How can we use art? What can we do structurally? What can design do to help more and more people be together as we live in, especially over this last year and a half, a time that has never polarized us further as communities? So 112 architects across 46 countries this year in all 3 different areas of the Biennale, all curated by Hashim Sarkos, who has a PhD in architecture from Harvard and I think from Rhode Island School of Design before that. I love it. My brain is going crazy right now. I'm thinking of like all the different related conversations that I've had, different friends, different even like former teachers for the last 20 years. I've explained to a lot of my students what the Anthropocene means and what it means to be in the Anthropocene, which, as it should be, is now becoming a more and more widely known topic. But basically acknowledging that humans are now a more powerful force than the environment, that humans have more of an effect on the environment than the environment has on us. So a few of these exhibitions are looking at, well, now how can we use that as design to come to a point where we are living with the environment and with each other in a way that's not divisive, that's not destructive, because quite simply, we know more now. So we're very overdue for design to help change, if not save, the world. Another big theme of a lot of the pavilions is that we are not alone. We as humans in communities, we as communities on the earth. So here's an example, the Russian Pavilion, built in 1914. Its whole top floor is kind of exhibiting itself. It's very empty as far as an exhibition space goes. But looking at the architecture of the space, how it was originally built and how it has evolved over the last century. Its space is very porous, that it has large open doors, windows, portals that open and interconnect the spaces with each other, enormous windows that lead to the outside. The whole facade here is painted green, and it's like literally sitting in the trees. I'm saying all this while I feel like I'm talking over the sounds of birds and bugs all around me, which is very fitting. The lower level, though, also very porous space, contains a whole exhibition on video games, which I love. But thinking about video games as architecture, thinking about video games, especially online games, as spaces of their own. How video games, one, need to borrow architecture from the real world to represent sometimes, if not create entirely anew, spaces and structures entirely of its own. And if we're thinking like video game as space, we have now like a virtual space where the rules and norms of our physical world, we're able to suspend those. The built-up cultural norms of our world, we're able to suspend those and pause them and twist them and play with them and experiment to create new spaces and experiment with new ways of connecting with each other. Also thinking of like online games as a space that we have created where we are able to connect and be together in ways that we never were before. Being able to play online games with people from all over the world, like the game itself is now a space that we live in together, that we play in together, and that we learn in together. Obviously, over the last like 20, 30 years or so, online games are still a very new and sometimes very toxic and problematic space. But I love that artists, architects, engineers, designers are able to use games, use virtual spaces as a way to investigate, become more introspective as well as innovative in the ways that we can interface with each other and play together in those spaces. I'm probably getting really repetitive. There's a lot going on, and I don't have a ton of time. The Australian Pavilion is gorgeous, looks awesome, though the doors are closed and their exhibition is entirely online, which fascinates me even more, but I'm not on Wi-Fi right now, so we'll have to experience that space later. The United States Pavilion features this large wooden facade that you want to climb to and scale to get the view from the top, but like on the way there, I felt like I was like awkwardly like fighting to kind of like push by people, and yeah, it doesn't sound familiar, does it? I could actually go inside and see what it's all about. It's about wood framing and how the American choice of putting both form and technical skill below what is economical is an often overlooked contribution to the greater discourse of architecture. I love that we're thinking about accessibility and the transients and how flexible wooden infrastructure can be, though can't help but look at this giant facade in front of the American Pavilion. I said I wouldn't get like too teachery with these vlogs. I said I wouldn't get too educational and feel the need to explain like literally everything. There's just so much here and I'm so excited to be here. And the vlog can't be entirely slow-mo B-roll, can it? So it's about 2 o'clock here, 1400, which is approaching nap time. The sun is very high in the sky and it is very hot. It's time to take a few hours off, wash up, and get ready for the night. Yeah, I'm still on over public transit by boat.